Hello people! Today we're doing a set I'm calling Honeybees. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with this gel glaze. And I'm going to be putting this on my pinky and my index finger. Okay, also for the other ones, we're going to use this light yellow or pale yellow Beetles. It seems to me I may have used this exact same yellow for the last set of bee nails I did. Actually, the first set of bee nails that I did was the very first time I tried polygel. That's why I remember them very well, because I had a lot of problems. I tried it with the dual forms and it did not go well. Needless to say, I no longer use the dual forms. Okay, we're going to cure those. Coat number 2. Now, you're not going to see it, but I did put a third coat on these glazed ones because I wanted them to be a bit darker. I didn't show that one because I kind of did it at the last minute. But everything else has got 2 coats. Whew. It is very hot here today. It's 104 today. So I'm melting. Actually, I'm trying not to drip sweat on my computer. Okay, these are the stickers I'm going to be using. That's the color, or that's the number of them, and that's the brand that they are. They came from Alley. I would guess you could probably find them on Amazon or Temu as well. Okay, I'm going to start off with these because this was the easiest one for me to decide on, which I'm putting on my thumb. Now these are very thin, so I had to be extra careful. And I found out the hard way when I went to pull one of the bees off of there. I pulled his whole head off. Okay, that guy's going on the thumb. And there it is. This, was it this? No, it was one right before this. So this, I started pulling them off by the head, and that didn't go well, as I said. So I had to regroup and go by the, start with the wings instead when I'm taking them off. Okay, there's that one. Now I believe I sped the rest of this sticker placement section up, so you don't have to sit through as much or as long of a process as it actually was. Now that guy wrapped around the side a little, so I'm going to cut off that extra bit, as we don't want that hanging over the edge that far because it will then peel off later. So we're going to trim that down. And then these honeycomb pieces, I wanted to use little bits of these and just randomly on my nails, so I'm going to start with the pinky. This is one of those situations where I really could have used a third hand, which I run into this problem a lot when I'm working on my own nails, so this would not have been nearly so awkward if I was doing these on press-ons or somebody else. So trying to get it where I want it, get it off of the tweezer and have some way to get in there where I can get a grip on the darn thing. Alright, this is getting ridiculous. Give me it. Now I'm going to regroup. I'm going to grab it just by the little pointy bit there, so hopefully I can get a hold of this bottom part. Alright. Moving on. The rest of this I just put on as it was. And then we're going to do the same with this one on the rest of these. This was a slow process just because of the awkwardness of trying to work over what I'm working over here. For the lack of a third hand. It was even worse when I had to do my offhand. Okay, I think that that's all I'm putting on there, and there's where we are so far with those. Okay, moving on. I did the other ones off camera. Moving on. We're using this chunky, the chunky glitter bits out of here, those little hexagon-shaped ones. Are they hexagons or are they octagons? Well, whatever they are, those ones that are shaped like the honeycomb pieces, those are the ones we're using. And I'm just going to be putting these on. I've put a layer of that glaze, and I'm just going to be putting these on. And then hopefully getting them arranged in some kind of a fashion that looks like a honeycomb. And when they get stuck to my mat like that and I can't pick them up, I just flip my brush over, use the other end, and boop, there we go. Now while you're watching me do this, I just want to give you guys a heads up. Pretty quick, or pretty soon here, we're going to be putting my dad on hospice care. So I may be going out there sooner than I was planning to be out there and help my mom a bit. So if that happens and I just disappear off here for a bit, know that I will be back, and while I'm gone, I will try to repost maybe some older videos. Well, those of you guys that have been with me for a long time will have seen them, but some of the newer people won't, and at least that way I can keep a flow of stuff going until I can get back to it. Hopefully I'll be able to arrange to do things in some way that there's not going to be an interruption, but we'll see we'll see how it goes. Because I'm not really sure what's going to be happening at this point. It's going to be one of those, the time that I've been dreading for the last couple years. It seems to be upon me now. So, it is what it is, you know, that's life. You got to deal with this shit. Alright, anyway, back to the nail stuff, because I don't want to get myself too emotional right now. Some of those little glitter bits, because obviously, as you can see, that's a mix of stuff. Some of the little ones that we're getting on there that I did not want. I was trying to avoid getting any of those little tiny glitter pieces in there. I think I did get a couple in here and there. But I'm just randomly placing these. Well, the ones on my ring fingers are not totally random because I'm going to be putting the 3D bees on there. So those had to be in a specific place. But the rest of them are kind of just randomly put on where I decided I needed a bigger patch of honeycomb. Not those little teeny tiny ones. This is one of those sets that I had kind of planned out, like some point last summer. I was deciding, okay, I'm going to do bee nails when I get to August again. So this is one of those well planned out ahead situations, which doesn't happen all that often, but okay, now if I got all those on, I'm going to take the same yellow glaze, but I'm going to mix in a little bit of this Beetles jelly, orange jelly, so I could get my honey color to look a little bit more golden versus the yellow that it is. And you can see on my fingers there, I've already done it. I forgot to hit record, so you're going to watch me do it on my thumbs. But what I'm going to do firstly is I'm just going to make a dot where I'm going to have it drip. And then the rest of these I'm just going to cover with this honey mixture of gels. And then we're going to have a little drip on this side. Now, I did not make my drips and stuff 3D. Frankly, if I had thought about it a little bit more, I probably would have done that, which I could have easily done with my gem glue. But it was so hot in here, I just really wanted to do what I needed to do and get out of here and get done. Sorry for being out of shot. Okay, there's what we have. There's about where we are. Now you get to awkwardly watch me work, or you don't get to be awkwardly watching, but you get to watch me work awkwardly with my offhand now while trying not to bump that other one that's still wet. When I do my thumbs, I do them both together, no matter what I'm doing on them. So I will cure them both at the same time. That's just the way I do it. I do 4 fingers cure, 4 fingers cure, and then both thumbs. That way my lamp only has to run 3 times for the curing of whatever, when I'm doing, the base stuff and whatnot. So I try to make as less amount of wear and tear on my lamp as I can, because this is already my 3rd lamp now, and money don't grow on trees, so I cannot afford to keep replacing this stuff all the time. Plus I'm just cheap like that. I like to get my money's worth out of stuff, and I like to make things last. And I don't waste anything. Okay, there are the thumbs. I've cured them. I've done the rest of them. And moving on to our final top coat. Now, I'm going to be doing 2 layers of top coat. This first one I'm putting on a little heavier. And the second one will be normal. But I wanted 2 coats because I have a lot of those little stickers down there near the edges. And those are the ones that tend to want to peel off if you don't get your edges coated really well. So I wanted to make sure I had a really good coating on these stickers, so they were really really very well encapsulated. Boy, I can't talk today. I don't know what's up. Okay, I'm going to cure those. Now, there was a couple of little rough bits along the edges and sticking up. So I'm going to just very quickly and briefly file those rough edge bits. And on the top, see that little pointy bit? If I hold still, well, I'm not going to hold still long enough, but there was a couple of little pointy bits sticking up from the corners of those chunky glitters. So I'm taking all of those down real quick. Just a couple of swipes, all it needed. Then we're going in with our final layer. And that will be the final top coat. Although we're not totally done, that's the final top coat. For the most part, this is a pretty easy set to do. Most of the trouble for me came with the sticker placement and getting those little tiny honeycomb pieces cut apart and then stuck on. But that was only an issue because I was working on my own nails. If I was doing these on press-ons, it would have been easy peasy. Okay, and we're going to cure these. Moving on. Okay, these are the bees, the 3D bees I'm putting on. These are the same ones I used the last time I did bee nails. They're metal charms with enamel paint and some little teeny tiny crystals in the wings. So what I'm going to start off firstly is I'm going to file off a little tiny section, just a tiny little bit, just right in the middle there where I'm going to glue the bee on, and I'm taking the shine off of the top coat so it will stick a little bit better. Okay, this is a glue I'm using for this. It's a gem glue, and why I like it is because it has this nozzle, this metal nozzle that's really tiny, so I can get it up into things and I can control my glue a lot more. So we're going to put a pretty decent blob on there. I'm going to take the bee, we're going to put it on there. Now as you can see, it wants to keep moving and sliding around. So we're going to get it the way I want it. And then I'm going to grab my LED flashlight. And I am going to flash cure it. Once I get my light going, I'm going to flash cure that a little bit on both sides just to set that glue enough so that my the bee's not going to move around when I move my hand into the lamp to finish curing it. Okay, that's going to go in for curing. I'm going to give it a full 2-minute cure, even though the glue doesn't need that long, just to be safe. And I did the other one, and there we are, finished set. I did put a little bit more glue under the wings after they were cured, and cured them again just to make sure they were firmly on. I think they turned out cute. I like them. They're infinitely better than the last set I had on. But if you like them, please give me a like. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. And remember, as I said last time when I did these, save the bees. We need them. Okay, and here's my finished picture. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.